Everybody, how are we doing? Got a few on already. Welcome to Darren Stanton Live then from Stanton Towers. Do you like it? I thought about it at the pyramids this week, but I decided against it. So yeah, really happy to introduce my guest this week. I've known her and her parents for a very long time, and I'm really over the moon at some of the stuff that she's doing and going to be doing next year. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest, Chloe, in a second, but I'm just going to give you a little taster in terms of some of the stuff where she's really big on TikTok, the phone app. So we'll just kind of play a little bit of that to give you a taste of what she's been doing.
But I cannot hide in hills of California, because these hills have eyes and I got paranoia. I hurt myself sometimes. Is that too scary for you? Watch me.
So I'm going to bring in Zoe. I keep saying Zoe, Chloe. There you go. I keep saying, calling her Zoe. How are we doing?
I'm all right.
Say hi to everyone. Everyone's watching. If anyone's got any comments, obviously, please do post any comments for Chloe. So Chloe's known as UK's #1 survivor, which will become apparent as we go along in the chat. Really powerful story, and I think it's something that a lot of us can resonate with. And hopefully, by the end of this week's show, hopefully we can all sort of take a lot from it. Again, it's important you guys get involved as well and talk to me. So do feel free to get involved. So I make sure I've got the stream on. So I'm making sure, because I've usually got an assistant with me actually filled in the comments, but unfortunately they've had to disappear. So do bear with me while I just look off screen for a second. So just bear with me. I've usually got an assistant with me actually filled in the. So hi Gary, how are we doing? Alicia's watching. So, right, Chloe, if you'd like to just sort of say hi to everyone, then just tell us a little bit about your journey, really. Sort of, it's quite, difficult in places, but just as much as you'd like people to know, really. Just give us an overview in terms of what you're all about.
I don't know where to start.
So this is one of Chloe's first broadcasts. So I'm really proud of her, the fact she's jumped on. Yeah, just tell us your story, really.
So, I've always kind of had like problems from such a young age with like social interactions and with other people.
Sure.
But I didn't get diagnosed with autism till I was 15, so I was like struggling through all primary and secondary school, and I was bullied from the age of 4. But you wouldn't think that 4-year-olds could be so horrible, but they just don't include you, and they say names, and people are, they're just 4-year-olds, they're just messing around. But when they're all the time, and then it goes from years to years, you think, no, that's something.
Yeah.
And I grew up, I was quite depressed, even though I was 8, 9. But you wouldn't think of an 8 or 9-year-old being depressed.
Yeah.
The horrific bullying that I had, like, it went from verbal to physical to mental and emotional. Like, I had everything from such a young age. Then moved schools due to like journeys and stuff with family, and then thought fresh start. Mum was saying how it'll be really good. Didn't make friends because everyone suddenly turned against me, and it was very difficult to be at school. The teachers were always, she's lazy, she doesn't do anything, she doesn't want to learn.
Sure.
But because I was so excluded from lessons by teachers and children, I was always in my own world because it was the place I felt safe. And that went, and then I went into secondary school, thought new start, things would be great. From day dot, it was horrific. You would think that new children, new like start, you can make a good impression, but nobody wanted to be my friend, or they wanted to just to not like be horrible. Then that went on for 4 years, and it just got worse and worse, where I was getting beat up by boys, followed home, I'd get messages, phone calls. I was harassed at one point, so I had to get the police involved.
Mm-hmm.
Then I left in year 10 and did pre-16 at college. Thought, new start, I'll get my GCSEs, bullied again by a massive group of girls who would be my friends, but then make me cry and then ask me why I was crying.
Yeah.
It was very difficult. Then that year finished, went to college again to do childcare. Same thing happened, which was wonderful. Then I left and said I never want to go to college.
This different people, yeah. This kind of different people, the same group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Place I'd went to, there would be a group of horrible people that would just
single you out.
Me, because I would always think there's other people like that that have been going through the same thing, but if they were getting picked on, you would think they would stand by you, but they would also.
Yeah.
But it's like, but you know how it feels, so why?
I could definitely resonate with what you're saying, because basically, I was bullied at school because I've always been up and down in my weight, and I was bullied for being overweight in school. And the only things that I loved was music. I used to love like rugby because I was all stocky. So I used to love rugby, love writing, and love piano, playing piano and music. Excuse me, things like that. And so I can certainly, I don't know how you feel, but I can certainly resonate from my experiences. And like you say, it's unbelievable how people so young can be kind of so vicious. Really, I'm just going to bring a few people in terms of just a lot of people are watching you. So Leisha, Gary, hi Gary, how you doing? I'll ring in a bit. Vinny, thanks for jumping on. Faye, we've got Steve Green, Ashley Colley, Danny Smith. Hi Danny Smith, Greg Wilson, Chris James, looking warm and snug. Yeah, I've got a bit of a bad chest at the moment, not COVID, I promise. But I've got my scarf on because it's not exactly warm where I am. So yeah, it's a strange one, because also, have you found that as you've gone along, sometimes the people that are the worst are sometimes the weakest, the ones that kind of are the most vicious, they end up being the ones that are the most vulnerable themselves.
Yeah, because it's like, it's so difficult, because you try and make friends and you try and be nice to them, or you try and ignore them because you get told by teachers, just ignore them, say something bad, retaliate, ignore them. And it's like, well, what shall I do? But then if you ignore them, carry on, they've never got tired. Even though people would say, people will get tired, they're just jealous of you. But I could never understand why would they be jealous if they're horrible? Never understand that concept. But the teacher, just ignore them, it's fine, they'll leave you alone soon. But they never actually left you alone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if anybody's got any questions for Chloe, or any experiences you'd like to share yourself, please do post, and I'll put them to Chloe. So what kind of was the sort of tipping point for you, Chloe? So you went along, tell us the rest of obviously your experience, and then maybe lead up to the point at which, things kind of started to tip a little bit for you.
So after college, I was like, no, not doing that ever again. But I'd had like my experience with children from that year at my college. So then I got a job, but I was there literally 3 weeks, really, because I started and I was really excited to start because it was like older women. Thought then they're not going to be horrible because they're mature, they're going to be like decent people. Straight away they found out that I had autism, so that's it. They think she's not going to do a good job. And it's like, I could do a lot of things. I'm very compassionate with like children and things. I love it. I love to play. I love to see them achieve things. I love to see them have a smile on their face. But even though I was hired as a play worker, I wasn't allowed to play.
Right.
Tidy up, just observe, do the food, do the snack. That's it. yeah, they were allowed to sit down. But if I was to sit down just for 5 minutes to get my breath, I'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
And it was very, Chloe do this, Chloe do that. But the other staff would just sit down and do nothing. Even some of the parents picked up on it, was like, oh, are you okay? Like, are you sure?
Sure.
Yeah, everything's fine. But then they wouldn't like help me in any way.
Yeah.
Big boss. And he was like, oh, I'll have a word with them. But then my manager, who was one of the people that weren't very nice to me, she pulled me in for a little talk. She was like, I've heard that you're not happy with me. And it's like, now you're confrontational with me, but I don't like that. And I've got no way of escaping.
Yeah.
And she was just having a go at me for telling someone how I feel.
It's interesting. We've got a couple of questions. Faye's asked a question which is going to be relevant very shortly, so I'll bring that on in a bit. Faye. So the other question was actually my cousin from New York. He's watching from the States. So were you bullied for autistic? For your autism? Did the schools not recognise your condition, or did anyone intervene, or what was that?
Asked that really. My mum and dad knew there was something. They knew, because obviously living with me, with my eating, with the way I would interact, I would do the most quirky little things. But my mum and dad would raise it, like, there's something there, can you do something? Is there any tests you can do? She's just lazy. She's like, she doesn't want to do anything. Like, she needs to sort herself out, or you need to help her. Like, my grades weren't that good, even in primary school, because I didn't understand. But they wouldn't take that and be like, hey, there's something there. She's just lazy, we don't want to help her. If she doesn't help herself, that's that. I think I was bullied at that age for my autism because I was weird, but we didn't actually understand why they were calling me weird.
What's normal though? What's normal, Chloe? I know what you're saying, but not making light of it. But yeah.
So like, kids would just leave me out because I was me, which is very odd because I don't know myself as any different. But for them, it's she's weird. We don't know.
Yeah. There's an expression it was written by a 17th century poet called John Dye, and this expression in one of his books, and I actually used it in my book, Project Jam Jar, and it says, "There's a pleasure in being mad, best known to madmen." Right? Mm. So it's almost like they perceive you or I or others different, because I can resonate because I've gone through some experience, as I'm sure people watching have. So they think that you're the odd one out. But the truth is, you've got to walk a mile in your shoes to understand what it's like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. So what is normal, what is abnormal, what is strange, what is not? It depends on the person, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And just going to say a quick hi. Neil's on. Neil Taylor, everybody. Anne, how you doing? Barbara Davis and Kelly's on as well. Hey Kelly, how are you? It's been a while. So you've got to that point. The school's obviously pretty much batting it off. Back to your mum and dad. What's the next sort of significant part that happens that you feel was kind of helpful? What's the next sort of positive, significant point that you reached, do you think?
It was it's weird because all primary school, even the two different schools battered us off. They weren't interested, but that's two different schools. In Parkdale, the one I was in second, they did a test, but they said it was nothing. But we look back now, and the learning method they put down is exactly the same thing as what autism is, but they didn't pick it up and go, oh, we'll get it tested because this is clearly matching. Which, not bothered, we don't want to pay for that. She'll just have to deal with it. And then obviously my SATs weren't brilliant, so I was being like belittled for that. Oh, it's her own fault, she should have done more. But how was I supposed to do more if I wasn't being taught the way I should have been taught? And I was just ignored.
I think history is also littered with people. For example, obviously, a lot older than yourself, and I was at school like your parents in the 80s, and there's a thing where some people tended to learn easier by looking at things. Some people learn easier by doing it.
Yeah.
And what I learned was that now, the way back when in the 80s, if, for example, I was always the kid that was looking out of the window, like appeared to be daydreaming, I was still listening. I didn't have to look at the board or look at the teacher to make sense of what they were doing. So I was always the kid that they'd shout, "Stanton, what did I just say?" And I'd say, "X, Y, Z, sir," or "Miss," you know, and they go, "All right, you were listening then." So a lot of times the teachers, they have this preconceived idea what a kid had to do to show they were listening, and sometimes they were way off the mark. Do you know what I mean? So I think now, I'm not saying it's perfect, but as time's gone on, the educational system especially has begun to realise that, you know, one size doesn't fit all.
Yeah.
And, you know, whereas maybe in the 80s somebody would be put in like remedial class in the, you know, like the like for the like potential, I wasn't in that level, but the potential might have put some people in like the lowest class in terms of the form, you know, that and they labelled that the dumb kids, whereas realistically they were just the most creative kids, but because the frame that they were in that school didn't recognise that. So that kind of makes sense. So I think it's okay labelling people, but also it's the frame that you put around it. Luke Fitzpatrick on YouTube's just put a nice message on for you. I just wanted to say hi to you, Chloe, and just say that it's such an inspirational story.
Oh, thanks.
And then basically Molly's again just said, you know, you're in the States now. So my cousin just put exactly, people learn differently. And Chris is on. Hey, Chris, how are you? So you've got to this point. What was the tipping point for you then where you started to maybe gain a little bit more confidence about yourself?
It was just when you get put down every day by staff, by your pretend friends, people in your class, everyone, you just start to believe it. But then it gets to the point where you're like, it kind of, you feel that way, but you just want to step up and prove that you're not.
Yeah.
It took years, but I think when I decided to leave the school and go to pre-16 at college for a fresh start, I think that's where the confidence got, because I just was like, I'm done. I've had enough now. I'm going to go and move on. Because I thought that would be the best thing at that moment. But then, unfortunately, things carried on. Like even the school bullies, they carried on even though I'd left. But then I had the college bullies as well. So I had two battles instead of just one.
Yeah.
But then teachers were still at all.
And I think it's kind of, it's not unique is the sad thing about it, because when I was working more clinically with people one-to-one, you know, I've worked with people of all ages, you know, like younger people like yourself, you know, people 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s even, you know, where they've gone into an environment and for some reason, you know, your face just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Or the expression that they don't have the core of your jib, you know, they just, for some reason, they've just decided as a group that, you know, you're going to be the one that gets picked on. And I think, fortunately, you know, now, well, unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that are being bullied right now and don't want to say anything. And I think, would you agree that everybody has to reach their own particular kind of threshold? Like for me, like I had to leave school with nothing because all of my coursework was ripped up and stuff. All the bullies like destroyed all my work. So I was never going to get any qualifications. It wasn't until when I was sort of 18, 19 that I redid everything. And then met a particular teacher that gave me confidence and ended up going to uni, you know, and studying psychology. And so for me, you know, like a lot of people, there's one or two people that were key in my sort of evolvement, if that makes sense. So, you know, I went through very similar things. What can you, as you begin to think back now, can you think about the time when maybe it was anger or maybe it was something else that just made you kind of rebel a little bit and think, you know, I've reached a point now where I've had enough? Did you kind of, can you remember that point where you thought, I've had enough of this? And what emotion was that allowed you to do that?
When you get bullied every day, but it's not just like name calling, you're getting physically beat up and you're going home with bruises or like cuts or something, it's just you get so angry, but part of you is angry at yourself because you're allowing it to happen, but there is actually nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Because if it's just you and then there's like 5 boys, their strength is going to be way more than you, but then you're angry at yourself for not fighting back, even though you would have no chance. And I think I just got so mad with myself and frustrated. I need to do something. I need to get myself out of there before it's too late. Because when you go to school and you're getting strangled to the point you're getting knocked out, you fear for your life, really. And that's such a strong thing to say because you wouldn't think going to school you could die. But when you're getting beat up that excessively and people are telling you to kill yourself at every moment of the day, you think, they could kill me. This is going to be my path.
And going back to a question that Faye asked, like, was this like online as well? Were you getting this through social media as well? You talk a little bit about that.
To school, at school, from walking home from school, and then I had phone calls. I had it on social media. I had text messages. I had no caller ID. That I had unknown. People messaged my mum to try and get me in trouble because I was at a friend's house and I was holding a glass, but there was a lamppost behind me, and the way I was holding the wine glass, it looked like I was smoking, but I would never smoke, like, because that's just me. I don't like the way it smells or anything.
Absolutely.
But they screenshot it, sent it to my mum. Chloe's smoking. Like, what are you gonna do about it? She needs to kill herself and stuff. Like, and my mum was there. Like, my mum, like, she would never do that. And she messaged me like, "Chloe, you smoking?" I was like, "No." Like, what's that come from? And she was like, "Oh, some girls from school have sent it me." See by the picture, it was a glass and it was just a reflection. But they were doing everything to make my life hell or make me and my mum fall out, so my mum wouldn't help me, so I was even more alone. They went to every extent. They would target my brother as well, so they would make rumours up to try and make my brother turn against me.
Right. So it was like a full-on assault just to pretty much destroy you. It was like horrible.
Yeah, so it was all aspects.
So that's all gone on. So what was the kind of tipping point for you then? At what point did you begin to see, light at the end of the tunnel? What was the kind of glimmer that you began to see or feel?
It was actually this year that I've only just started to feel my life's getting better. It's took many, many years, but it's just, you've got to have the strength to do it, even if the tiniest bit, just to know that it's going to be okay at some point. If it's 5 years, 10 years, whenever, as long as you have even the smallest little thing in your head of just saying it will be okay, you will make it.
Yeah. I'm just going to play that little clip again. So obviously, you're very big on you've growing, a lot of momentum on TikTok and social media. So a lot of people saw this clip, but these are some of the things that you're posting online. So let's play
I
this.
cannot hide in hills of California because these hills have eyes and I got paranoia. I hurt myself sometimes. Is that too scary for you? Watch me. But I cannot.
So just talk about TikTok for a very quick second. So if people are not aware of what TikTok is, do you want to just kind of tell them what it's all about?
So basically, it's an app. It's like Vine or Musical.ly. So where you post videos of either your own voice, or you play music in the background and dance to it, or you like lip sync the words, or there's like clips of videos that you can put yourself in. So you audio of that video, and you just make like a funny video out of that audio. So you like mouth the words, but you be you, and you just get likes and follows from it. And
people have got millions of people following them, and again, I noticed like you've gained a lot of momentum, in a short space of time. So, I know one of your aspirations is obviously similar to myself. Why I started off in this sort of area, So, what do you think some of your core values are now? What do you think are some of your motivations for doing what you're doing now?
I think because I know like the darkest like places you can go, the thought of someone else going there, even if I don't know them, strangers, close friends or what, the thought of them going to the places that I did, I just could never imagine it, and I would never want that. So if I can share my story or share my coping mechanisms or the way I help myself, even if little bits of those information help them become a better person or help them recover from whatever they're going through, it will mean the absolute world. Because I would put that on my worst enemy.
Yeah.
Because it's so horrible.
Yeah, I know we're gonna look at some of your sort of top tips and stuff for people to overcome stuff. But we'll just say a quick hi to a few people because you've got quite a lot of people jumped on. Still got Emma. Hey Foxy, how are you? Andrea, how are you doing? Wayne Cliff, how are you? Yasmin, how's it going? Hey Julia, it's been a while, hasn't it? How are you doing? Julia Wallace. And Emma, Carl, Chris Pearson, Cole Ford, thanks for jumping on. So, and also the speaking. So I know the public speaking's quite a big one as well that you want to do as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's fair to say that you were going to actually do quite a bit this year, but because of like a lot of us, because of the lockdowns and stuff, it's obviously prevented that. But I think genuinely very proud of you because what Chloe's done has been amazing because and we'll post all the links. So she's got her own website, which we'll talk about in a second. She develops her own line of merchandising, sort of clothing and stuff. And then do you want to talk about the big one, which is the book? Talk about your book for a little bit.
Yeah. So during lockdown, I've been wanting to kind of do something with my story. But the funny thing is, I've never read a book in my life. I've never picked one up. It's never came to me. I've always been a film person. And then the thought of writing a book was like an amazing thing. Where I was like, I need to do that. So I was just talking to my mum. I was like, I'm going to write a book. She was like, what? Like, you've never read one. So, what? But she was been dead supportive of it. She was like, if you want to, because obviously it's a massive thing, like you telling people your story. I was like, I need to do it. Like, I need to help. If I help somebody else, but then I'm helping myself, because it was such an amazing like counselling for me, because I've had so many different counsellors and therapies and cognitive behaviour therapy, and nothing really helped me the way the book did. Because going through everything in details and going through my feelings and writing it all down got it out my head.
Yeah.
So it's in a book now, and I can just open and close it whenever I want. They're not in the little boxes in my head anymore.
Sure.
So it was a massive thing, and I've been told, it takes years to write. It'll take you ages. Like, it's a massive thing as well. Like, you won't. I finished it in a matter of months.
When's that book going to be out? Do you know? Is it going to be out?
It's at the proofreader at the moment, and then it's just doing the book cover and adding the last little bits, and then hopefully it'll be out mid-January.
And what's the book called?
The Story I've Never Told.
So, The Story I've Never Told. So why is that an important title to you, Chloe?
Because I've always struggled to talk about things that are happening. I've always struggled to open up because I thought it's a burden on everyone. I've kind of just touched on it like, oh yeah, I'm being bullied, or this has happened, or whatever. But now I've gone into detail about everything, about my feelings, of how people have treated me, how different I've felt. So it's kind of the story I've kept a secret, really. And it's time to let it go in a way and be proud of what's happened, no matter how horrific it has been. It's made me who I am and the strong person I am today. So
That's why you call yourself Survivor. And
yeah.
ironically, I understand that you've had some of your former bullies in touch. About that, and obviously, I'm really chuffed because obviously your response to them now is obviously totally different. Now you've found your personal power. So just tell us a little bit about some of your bullies trying to.
As soon as I kind of put it out there, they've somehow found out. Obviously, people talk, especially when it's about me, because everyone loves to talk about me apparently. And then I just get messages. Oh my God, babe, this is amazing. You're doing amazing things. Oh, you're achieving so much. And it's like, you're in the book, love. Like, you have made me so sad in the past. And now I'm actually doing something with that and making myself a better person and doing that I should be doing because I'm strong and I've got good things to show. They suddenly want to be all friendly with me, and it just makes me laugh because it's, you called me worthless, you said I'd never make it anywhere, but now you want to be my best friend because you think, oh, if she does this, she gets big, she'll have loads of followers, she'll make loads of money, but then if I'm friends with her, then I might be able to chip in with that.
Yeah.
Or she could make me famous. But I'm not in it for the money or the fame. I'm in it to help other people.
Exactly, and that's the thing. And I think, honestly, I'm so proud of you. I genuinely am, and you've done amazing. And I think, people can draw inspiration from it. And as Neil just put on the messages, it's soul destroying, such a cruel world sometimes. But good for you, Chloe. You go, girl. You should be very proud of yourself. There's a famous expression or quote that Will Smith, because Will Smith's quite a spiritual guy. And he said, if you're not there in my struggles, don't expect to be there in my triumph.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's very much the same. I mean, I've had similar experiences, where there's been people that have been nasty to me. And then, the minute that you see on the telly or doing things that are out of the ordinary, they suddenly want to kind of like associate with you. And the truth of it is, you're the one, you are the one that's done it. You're the one that stepped out there. Another favourite quote of mine is, you'll never discover new shores. No, you'll never discover new oceans without first losing sight of the shore. So to me, that means that, you've took a big risk. You've took a big risk putting your personal story and your personal experiences out there.
Yeah.
I think it's great that we've got platforms like social media now that I think people will worldwide really embrace, because everyone's, I think, got some experience of being bullied, no matter what it's on the grounds of, a disability or learning difficulty, or it could be ethnicity or, being gay, whatever. I think, a lot of people out there will draw inspiration. And, unfortunately, there are people that attempt to kill themselves or, do kill themselves because of this sort of pressure, because it can be overwhelming, can't it?
Yeah, because even to this day, you see people online, but they don't show themselves as them. It's very fake, and they want people to see them, like their bodies or their amazing faces, and it's like you're putting so many other people down.
Yeah.
Just because you want to lift yourself up. Like, there's girls out there that will scroll through Instagram, see all these half-naked women like with amazing bodies and bikinis, and they then hate themselves because they don't look like that.
Exactly.
They think what men want. They want this like perfect figure, perfect everything, but it's not. And
it's not real. It's just froth, isn't it? Just a quick highlight to George as well. Yasmin's still with us, and Lisa Jane Riley's jumped on as well. Hey Lisa, how are you? I think that's the thing. I think you've hit it on the head before. I think it's about being authentic, really, about being yourself. And, it's like for myself, I've always sort of been up and down in weight. But the thing is, there's certain changes that we might want to make about ourselves, but predominantly, it's about being you, the core value of what you are, the fact you want to help people. And obviously, Hi Sylvia, how are you? Obviously I'm hoping to develop your sort of TV career as well, aren't I? So, you've got a lot of exciting stuff. So I do hope that people that did bully you are watching this as well, because obviously watch this space. Come in May, providing that obviously the lockdown situation's off, we're going to be having a big motivational event in Nottingham. And Chloe is going to be one of the key speakers there. So hopefully when we can all reconnect and hug and touch and, sort of be reconnected again, that's going to be a fantastic event, which I'll be launching, as we know. We can run it, and that's going to be in May. Anything anyone would like to ask Chloe? Any experiences you guys would like to share? Any sort of comments, feedback, anything from you guys you'd like to say? I'm sure Chloe would really appreciate that. So we've got the book, got your merchandise, you've got your website. Hey Tash, how are you? What else is going on?
Well, this year has been a bit of a... Well, it's been a rubbish year for a lot of reasons, but then it's been the most amazing year for me. And I wish things in some ways were different, but then I think it's been perfect the way my life has been going, because I got engaged in October.
Congratulations.
And then 4 days later, I found out I was pregnant.
It's a very busy year for you next year.
Yeah, so we're both over the moon, because we've been trying but not trying. So it's like, if it happens, it happens. If it takes a long time, so be it. But I've never been the party type. I've always kind of known what I want. I wanted to be a mom. I wanted to start my family, young or not. That's kind of the way I want it to go.
Yeah.
And that's kind of happened now. So that's really fun. So next year's going to be definitely a busy one for a lot of things.
So imagine now, like, we're this time next year, and you're looking back at 2021. What's happened?
Oh God.
What would be the top, apart from your baby, what would be the top three things, or including your baby, what would be the top three things that you'd like to look back on 2021?
I think the big achievement would be my book coming out, because I've never really been proud of myself. I've always kind of, you could have done it better, but I've honestly been so proud of myself for even writing it. I've never really wrote an essay before, never read a book.
Yeah.
Dyslexia, so then trying to do my spellings and grammar and put things together that make sense. Because it's like, when it's in your head, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's a timeline, everything's jumped everywhere. And the fact that I've actually got it out of my head and put it on paper and wrote a book is my biggest achievement.
And the thing is, obviously, like, again, it's all dependent on, the virus situation, potentially, get you into Waterstones and do a book signing. So there's, some really exciting stuff. Kelly's just put a nice comment on for you, Kelly Taylor. She's put, Chloe, congratulations on your pregnancy. You're an amazing young woman. Keep pushing through and be proud of the person you are. So yeah, I think obviously if you think back, well, if you think a year ago, so we've done it, we've thought about a year ago. If we, this time last year, if you thought what would happen in 2020, what you've achieved, would you think that would be possible?
No, because I was obviously in my job, which was horrendous, because 2019 was possibly the worst year of my life, for many reasons. And then I was just in an awful place, really. So to think a year on, I would be happy, starting a family, having my book released in a month is absolutely because I would never have thought in my whole entire life that this would ever happen. So I've blown my own mind, really. I'm sure I've blown a lot of other people's as well.
So amazing. And then Guy Cooper's just put, late to the party as always. You'll get there on time one day, Guy. With some time keeping. I've listened to some of the feed. Chloe should be very proud. I've had clients who needed someone else to challenge or divert the bully. When people understand their values and they don't need people like me, they rock. So I think, yeah, it's very much about sort of value systems. Once you find that core value that motivates you, realise that you've got the strengths within you.
Yeah.
And then again, Molly's put, Chloe, you're inspiration to many. You're not alone. I'm the mother of a 5-year-old autistic daughter. You give me hope for a future.
Oh, so that makes me so happy that other people can know that their child will be okay.
Yeah.
There's not much research in autistic girls, and it's so wrong because as soon as you hear, oh, they've got autism, they're naughty, they misbehave, no.
Yeah.
Because boys and girls are completely different. Girls, they can be naughty, they can be misbehave and stuff, but then some girls are so high functioning where they can do what they need to with that extra bit of help. There might be things that they can't do, like with me, it's my eating. So brightly coloured food, things touching, it's just a big no, can't do it. But I can achieve so much even though I've got a different brain.
Definitely.
So for other people to see that I've done it and now their child can do it too, if whatever path they wanted to take, they can do it with the right support.
Yeah, it's possible for you, it's possible for everyone.
Exactly, yeah.
So what do you think is a really important belief? So if you could, what's an important thing for you to believe about yourself, do you think?
I'm not sure, really. There's so many things.
Pretty on the spot. So if there's somebody watching right now, Chloe, that's in a bit of a crap place, and then they're dreading the new year. Again, we've just had New Year's Eve sort of robbed from us again. What advice would you give somebody that's thinking about, I want to do something, but I'm not sure if I'm good enough? They could be a lot older than you. They could be in a relationship, or they could be in a job, or they could be in any situation where they're feeling disempowered. What would be your sort of top advice for someone that's in a situation like that?
Always talk to someone. Just tell them, even if they can't really help you, tell them so then they know to check up on you. They know to ask the right questions. Because if you don't tell anyone and something was to happen, nobody knows. So if you tell somebody just how you're feeling or what's going off in your head, they know. So then they can be a support of the outside. But there's one thing that I'll always stand, and some people think it's harsh, but if you don't help yourself, no one can. So if people are trying to help you, unless you help yourself as well, you're not going to get anywhere.
You've got to want it.
Yeah. So you can say that you want to run 5 miles, but if you don't get up and do that, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Like people can buy the shoes, buy the outfit, want to go with you, but unless you get yourself up and do it, then you're not going to do it. Like you need to do it. And sometimes that can take time with the right support of people encouraging you, taking step by step. But in the end, if you help yourself, you'll achieve anything you want to. And I'll always believe that. But people say it's harsh because it's like telling people they need to help themselves. But if you get the help as well as helping yourself, you'll make it wherever.
Yeah. I think that's fantastic words. And just tell us again what the book's called.
The Story I've Never Told.
And short of getting it from a bookshop or Amazon, where can they get that from? So what's your website? We'll post everything on your page later. What's your website again?
It's www.uksnumber1survivor.co.uk.
And you can find Chloe's contact details on there. Anything else, just as we begin to wrap things up, that you'd like to say overall?
Just keep being like you, really. Like, don't let other people make you feel bad for being the way you are. If there's nothing wrong with you, there's something wrong with them. If they don't see the real you, then they can do one.
Yeah. And then John, hey John, how are you? John Lingard. And then Yasmin's just put, turning your pain into power. Well done, you win. And then a quick hello to Kimberly as well. So we'll give it a second. Anyone's got any questions for Chloe? Any comments? Anything you'd like to say before I begin to sort of wrap it all together? I think it's been absolutely amazing. And to say it's one of your first live broadcasts, I think it's amazingly. So thanks for thanks for jumping on. Oh, all these compliments, thanks. So anything you'd like to say before we begin to wrap it up, everybody? Any sort of so Faye's said, well done, Chloe. Faye's a good friend of mine. Just want to basically say to everyone, thanks for jumping on. Obviously New Year's Eve tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Yeah, I don't think it is.
I can't.
It's been a crazy year, but yeah, I mean myself, I've got quite a lot of stuff happening, but that's you'll see it posted in various places. Hey Sue, how are you? So I just want to give a massive thank you to Chloe for being so open and honest about everything. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot to come on and just bare your soul, really. And again, it's incredibly personal. Again, Molly just says thank you both for a wonderful interview. Neil says well done to us both. Stay strong. And Garo, my friend, says well done. Amazing. So I wish everybody else sort of happy New Year. Again, it's going to be a bit crap, to be honest, isn't it? Nobody can connect or have a drink together and stuff. So, but I'm sure next year is going to be amazing. And
have a bottle of water.
What's that?
I'll have a bottle of water for everyone because I can't drink.
Yeah, Chloe will have a bottle of Evian for you. Yeah. So as soon as I've got details of this show, hopefully looking to run it in May. We'll post details on that. That's going to be sort of inspirational speakers. So obviously Chloe's going to be featuring there. I'll be doing my usual shenanigans on stage. And there'll be lots happening. So look, please guys, next week I'll be around next Wednesday with a really interesting guy of how you can get a job or create a business during a global pandemic. So let's all tune in for that one. Should be a really, really interesting chat. Again, final thoughts, just thanks so much for being here tonight, Chloe, and congratulations on all your successes.
Thanks.
Take care, everyone. If you're still on the line, Chloe, that'll be fine. Thanks, guys. Take care. See you soon.